Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are looking at how to succeed in life, and we are going in the process of from success from different perspectives, starting with the materialistic people who are atheists or agnostics and who have no thing that is beyond this life. There is nothing. Birth is the beginning of life and death is the end of life. These are common people for many, and they don't believe something higher. And even some of the great scientists come under this category, because for them the materialist knowledge itself is the material they want to gain. So jnanam is a material that they want to go higher, the more research and all that, but still they think that this is the life, there is nothing beyond that. So if I cannot prove objectively using the objective tools, then it becomes a subjective. Subjective means it's from them, their point. Subjective means it depends upon everybody's opinion. Is there a God? I cannot objectively prove. Show me where the God is. If God is there, how can there may be so much of suffering? And if He is so compassionate, why doesn't He solve the problem? Why did He create this kind of mess? So if God is a creator, because everybody says Jagat Karta Ishwaraha, God is the creator of the world, why did He create this kind of mess? Even a lot of very intelligent people ask this question also. Therefore there is no God. So looking at the world creation and the type of creation they are looking at, from their perspective, God create. If there is a God, intelligent being, He should not create. He should have consulted me. I would have given better ideas. So how do you address that problem? So for them, God is something that objectifiable entity, that is someone in the heaven, or someone that you have to prove. How do I prove that there is a God? So any proof that they want is essentially objectifiable proof that they can validate. How? By using the objective tools. I should see, I should hear, I should document. All these things is pratyaksha pramana. So God has to be in the form or something that I can identify this is God and not anybody else. So if there is a God, He has to be different from everybody else. So strange looking God has to be there, and at the same time we has to see it, but you cannot see, because the one who can see is limited, and God has to be unlimited, infinite. That infinite cannot be seen. Therefore if I don't see it, then there is no God. So for him the materialistic, so the life is to have a good security of wealth and comfortable living, and that's how comforts and body comforts, emotional comforts, intellectual comforts, that makes life very good. I live very well. One day I kick the bucket. There is nothing wrong with it, but that is the goal. But even for them, to success is to achieve what they want. So we define the success in a broader sense, that you should have a goal and you want to reach the goal, and that when you reach the goal you are successful. Higher the goal, higher should be your effort to reach that goal. Of course, you can say infinite is your possibility, but you have to work towards it. I can have a very high goal. It's like a New Year resolution where I want to, from now on, I want to do exercise and all that. I even turn on the TV and see how people or exercises are being taught in the TV, and I'm watching it. And then what else? Then I get tired and then go to sleep. So watching somebody else doing exercise doesn't help me, because I have to do it. I had to set a goal, but I had to work towards the goal in order to achieve that. And every goal has certain means to achieve that goal. If I had to go somewhere, then means is either to walk or to fly, depending upon the distance, or use some vehicle, a transportation vehicle, to transport me from here to there. I am here, I am not there, I want to reach that, that's my goal. So goal and the means both have to be understood clearly, and in some cases there are many ways to achieve that goal, but I see what is that I can do among the choices that I have. So if I am poor, I cannot fly. So maybe go by car or go by different means. It may take longer time, but I will reach there, because I had to use, depending upon what I have, what I can do towards the goal, and the means has to be appropriate to reach the goal. This is true across the board, whether it is a materialistic goal or even the spiritual goal also. A means has to be there. And also I had to prepare myself to go to do the action appropriately. Instruments are also required in order to that. If I had to walk all the way to that, if I don't have proper feet, or if I don't have the legs to walk, then I cannot walk. I had to ask somebody else to carry me there, or some other means I need in order to accomplish that. So instruments to achieve that is also, I have to be prepared myself. I have to have legs strong enough to walk if it is a long distance. All that is proper, appropriate, depending upon the nature of the goal, depending upon where I am, and depending upon how I have to reach the means that I have. All that are intelligently have to be applied in order to accomplish the task. So in every case, whether it's a materialistic or a religiously materialistic or materialistically religious, whatever the categories that we have defined, in every case there has to be a clear understanding of goal, clear understanding of the means, and clear understanding of what I had to do, and also do that action is required, because if it involves something that I had to do, I had to gain something. Even for a knowledge, even though knowledge doesn't depend upon the Purusha Tantram, that means I cannot will the knowledge, I still have to do the action oriented part of it, because I had to prepare, I had to go to some teacher, and I had to sit down, and I had to listen. That part is there. Then I had to prepare my mind sufficiently to understand the nature of the subject. This becomes very important for a knowledge. So knowledge will come provided I have the mind conducive to receive the knowledge. That's called Saraswati. Saraswati will bless. Saraswati is the knowledge. She will bless only, or she will come only when the mind is conducive for the knowledge. That means mental preparation is an essential ingredient for any knowledge. For a physics, I have to go through, if I want to know quantum mechanics, and if I don't know any mechanics or any science, and I cannot go and sit in the quantum mechanics class, all I hear is only alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Alphabets only. Oh, I also know alpha, I have learned already alpha, beta, gamma. That doesn't help. I had to be trained in that field in order to arrive and understand what the teacher says. It's not if I don't understand the quantum mechanics when I sit in the quantum mechanics class, it's not the problem of the teacher, it's not the problem of the subject, it's a problem with me, because my mind is not prepared to receive that knowledge, even though knowledge is being given by the teacher. So even for knowledge, I have to prepare the mind. So here we are talking about different grades of people, from a materialistic people to materialistic religious people. Now they believe in something higher, and there is a Ishvara, Lord, who gives the results of the action. Then I want to be in a good list, so I go to a temple and give a begging list of, no, I am doing a lot of prayers only because my list is bigger only. So I spend a lot of time in the temple. What? Not that I am great bhakta, because my bhakti is not for the Lord. My bhakti is for the objects that I want. I have devotion to the objects, not to the Lord. Lord is only a means to get what I want. That's called means love. God love is, devotion to the God is only means love. And this is what essentially materialistic religious people. I graduate from that to religious materialistic people, where there is still something higher, what called dharma is there. There is a right thing and wrong thing in action. I cannot just go any other, stamping everybody to get what I want. So I have to approach a dharmic way without hurting anybody, accomplish the task that I can. Dharma stands with me. Even if I am not successful here, I will be successful in my next life, because life is a continuous. I carry my dharma with me. I cannot carry anything else with me other than dharma. So Rama is called dharma. So Ramo Vigrahavan dharma. He is the embodiment of dharma itself. So dharma rakshati rakshaka. One who protects dharma, dharma protects him. How do I protect? By following dharma, what need to be done. If the child is being molested in front of me, it is my dharma to support, to protect the child. And in the process, I may even be killed. But that's my dharma. So I am ready to sacrifice even myself for the sake of dharma. That's what Krishna teaches in the Gita. He is not teaching violence. People think that Gita is a violence. He is not teaching violence. He wants you to follow your dharma. What is my dharma? An army officer who is being paid by the public, by the taxpayers, and suddenly when he has to defend the country, I say, I want to be peaceful, I want to go and Himalaya sit in. You can't do that at that time. You have an obligation to the society to protect the society from this who are grabbing the land or the property. So that becomes your dharma. Even if you die in the process, you are glorified, not only here in life after also. So that becomes an important, so I had to follow. This becomes a dharmic, a religious, materialistic people. And we go to now a spiritual seeker who has the one understood that other one is not really giving me what I want. What I want is eternal, everlasting happiness. I can never get eternal, everlasting happiness by any pursuit, because pursuit itself is temporary, it is changing. That which is temporal will not give me a permanent happiness. So therefore, tad vijnanartham sa gurum eva abhigatset. Go to a teacher, that's what scripture says. But I had to prepare my mind in order to accomplish. In the last talk, this is how Karma Yoga can prepare the mind. Karma Yoga means the action that you are doing, whatever you are doing, if you do for the sake of the Lord, because you already assume that there is a creator, and the creator is all powerful, all pervading, omniscient, omnipresent, and so on. Every religion talks about it. And he is imperceptible because he is infinite, because he is omnipresent, he is there in everywhere. So every situation he is there. So I had to be a full-time devotee. All other relationships are temporal relationship. I am a husband only with respect to wife. I am a teacher only with respect to students. I am a student with respect to teacher. I am an employee with respect to job. So all other are temporal relationships. But this is a permanent, eternal relationship with the God, because wherever I am, God is there. So I cannot but be devotee. So devotee plus husband, devotee plus wife, devotee plus office employee, devotee plus something. And therefore devotee plus husband, we said devoted husband, devoted wife. So every action becomes a devoted action for a devotee. Once I recognize the Lord, presence of the Lord everywhere. So yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yatu yat tapasvasi kaunteya tat purushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, offer it to me. Whatever you eat, also offer it to me. Yat karoshi yad ashnasi, whatever you eat. So therefore, whatever action you do, whatever yajna you do, offer it to me. And that's how the karma yoga becomes important as a devotion to the Lord. Therefore, every action becomes a dharmic action because I'm offering to the Lord. And also every action becomes the best that I can do because I'm offering as my prayer to the Lord. Action itself is prayer. The other prayer in the temple is only practice. So, Jagada Isha Dhihi Yukta Sevanam. Ramana says in the Upadesara, Jagata Ishadi, Lord itself is the whole world. Therefore, pray in the outside also, not only in the temple. Temple is practice, and they give some prasadam. You take with a reverential attitude and come back. But when you are coming back, you take the Lord with you, not that Lord. In your mind, you take the Lord with you wherever you are going. That means you have to be devotee all the time. And this other one is only practice to recognize the presence of the Lord everywhere, so that He is with you all the time. So your prayer should be, oh Lord, let me recognize your presence all the time. Not that He is not there, but I have to recognize. Because He is there in everybody's heart. That's what Krishna says. So in every one that I am encountering, first recognize the presence of the Lord. Then you can recognize if you have to give galis and all that, blah, blah, blah. That is, you can play the drama knowing very well that's a Lord in that form also. That's real bhakti. That purifies the mind. I will not be reactive to the situations, I'll be active. Action is a game, action is a play, action is a drama. Life becomes a drama only if I can act. The role that I am playing will have problems. I may be a beggar and I may be kicked left and right in the scenes, but I am a millionaire playing the beggar role. So I suffer better than the real beggar also. At the same time, I am not suffering because I know I am an actor, millionaire. Only action is playing on. In the same way, I will never suffer all this drama, ups and downs in life all the time occurring. That's only beauty of the drama, because if everything is, they lived here after marriage, they lived here after happily, end of the story. If end of the story, then there is no problem. But you want to see what happens after that. Because everybody has ups and downs. So, dukkeshu anudvignamanaha sukeshu vigataspruhaha vitaraga bhayakrodaha stitadhir muniruchyate. So, what is that? I should be vitaraga bhayakroda. I don't have to have raga, dvesha, all those things will not be there. Will not be there if I accept whatever that comes as prasada. Means it's coming prasada. Prasada means when they give in the temple as a prasada, says this is prasadam, it says you accept it without questioning how much you are getting, who made this prasadam and all that. You don't question, it's coming from the Lord. With a reverential attitude you accept. So every action, the results are coming from the Lord because He is karma paladata. I do not react, I only accept. Even though that's not what I wanted, I am getting something. God says, what for your action only gives you this. So if I have a ball and I have to put the ball into the basket, so I throw it, it went to the left side. So God is telling me you have done too much to the left. So I did compensate next time. So I learn from the results and do better action. That's what God is also teaching you in that. That's what prasadam also. You accept with the reaction, but learn from the reaction, from the action, from the result, and act better next time. You are given an opportunity to act again. Ball is with you and to put it again. So that is what is essentially involved in the karma yoga that we discussed last time, and that becomes a purification of the mind, and what kind of mind we need in order to pursue the knowledge. Because karma yoga is a jnana yoga, yogyata siddhyartham. Means karma yoga doesn't take me, because karma doesn't give my final result. That's what is the Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamayanascha krutakrutena. This finite action will not give me infinite result that my goal is infinite happiness. Eternal, infinite, everlasting happiness is my goal. I cannot get by any other means, by any karma. But karma yoga, I have to do it so that I prepare my mind so that I can get what I want. So this is a preparation. Karma yoga prepares the mind for a jnana yoga, because jnana yoga requires a mind conducive to gain that knowledge. And what kind of preparation I need? I say, scripture says, and Shankaracharya says in Brahma Sutra Bhashya, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, also then means then after gaining these required qualifications, then you can inquire. So what are the required qualifications? There are 4 primary required qualifications. That is Viveka, Vairagya, and Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, and Mumukshutvam. These are the 4 qualifications. And Viveka is a discriminative intellect. That means I had to develop my intelligence, buddhi, and buddhi is the one who has a capacity to discriminate. That's why a scientist discriminates between things, and that's why he classifies by discriminating, this is this phylum, that is that phylum, and so on. Differentiation, sukshma buddhi, sharp mind. So the buddhi is required. And that viveka will tell what viveka for this jnanam is different from the sharp intellect that is required for objective senses. And this viveka, discriminative intellect, then vairagya, dispassion to get the mind away from all other dissipating things that distracts my mind, because I need a ekagrata, a concentration of the mind is required in order to pursue any knowledge. That is essentially vairagya. And samadhi shatka sampatti is controlling my senses as well as the mind. That is involving, and shraddha, faith in the teaching itself. These are the samadhi shatka sampatti, and strong desire to gain what I want. That is there in all pursuits, and this is more so in the Adhyatmika Vidya, or in the highest goal. Because why are we doing this? Because all other goals are temporal or temporary, and this is the one which beyond the time itself, eternal, and this is the highest goal of life itself. This is the highest sadhana, this is the highest achievement. When the speaker says infinite is your goal, this is infinite. But infinite cannot be reached. But how could we reach? That's exactly what we are here discussing, how to gain that infinite which cannot be gained. So that is the 4 fundamental qualifications. And so Vairag, we will go back again details in terms of what are these 4 and what do I have and how do I develop it. This is important for acquiring sadhana now. So Viveka is discriminative intellect. What kind of discrimination? Because there are 2 types of buddhi. One is a sharp buddhi, another is a subtle buddhi. In the Sanskrit called the Tikshna buddhi and the Sukshma buddhi. Tikshna buddhi is a sharp, by knife edge. So what does knife do? It will cut. So Tikshna buddhi is dissects. It is an analytical mind. Analytical mind analyzes this from that and that from this and so on, differentiating attributive content of this and that, and classifies all these things are common this. All other things are different type. Chairs are one type, tables are one other type, carpets are different. This is a discriminative intellect based on the attributive content of the chair is different from a table, is different from a carpet. which I can see, right? By perceptually, hey, this is not a chair, this is a carpet. Why? I can see a jati. Jati means a common factor that classifies that under this versus not under that. But now, this discriminative, the sharp intellect is not what is required. A scientist can have a discriminative intellect, differentiating intellect, but for a Vedanta, it's not the sharp intellect, it is the subtle intellect. So what's the difference? Subtle intellect is that which is subtle, which discovers the subtle things from the gross. That which pervades more compared to the grosser things. So what does that mean? It's not an analytical mind, it's a synthetic mind. What is the difference? Analytical mind is a differentiating mind. Synthetic mind is an integrating mind that sees oneness in many things. The other one is that sees differences and differentiates, this is different, that is different, and so on. That's called sharp intellect. Analytical mind is a synthetic mind. In spite of differences, one sees the essence that is same, that pervades all that. One sees the integrating factor in spite of differences. So in every organization you have a branches, this branch, that branch, that branch. But as you go up, you start integrating into one, into 4 branches, and then into top one is executive officer. Then you have one chief, the president or the owner of that. Now look at from his vision, he doesn't see differences among all that. Even though subordinates, his department is different from my department is different. Oh, this is my department, not that your department. We may fight among these, at the local, at the bottom level. But he has to see oneness that pervades what is the best for the whole organization. So he has to redistribute and look at in and through oneness that pervades. That is called subtle mind. Organization is only one. The branches are different. But he is looking at oneness that pervades all this. That is called subtle mind. Now what is that one that pervades the whole entire universe? That is the subtle mind is required for this. So that is one way of looking the mind, that is viveka, discriminative intellect. The other viveka is seeking. Why do I need to know? Seeking, I want to be free. Free from what? You are already free. See, it's not a political freedom, it's not a religious freedom. It's free from dependence on anything other than myself. That's the freedom. Who is really free? One who doesn't depend for his happiness on something other than himself. Other things come and go. He is comfortable with things. Comfort is different from happiness. One can be comfortably unhappy with all the air conditions, everything, but still misery, not able to sleep and all that we are all familiar with. So comforts does not necessarily give happiness. Comforts will only give comforts. So we do not equate comforts with happiness. One doesn't have anything but be comfortable. So one fellow was sitting under a tree, a fisherman sitting under a tree and relaxing. So one fellow says, "Hey, why are you relaxing? What's your problem? What should I do? Go and fish. What for? You will get more fish. Then what for? You can go and sell them. Then what for? You will get more money. Then what for? Then you can build a house. Then what for? Then you can sit and comfortably lay." That's what I'm doing already. Be comfortable. Why do you need all that? I'm already comfortable. So comfort, called the trupti, we covered in the 7th chapter of Panchadasi, Trupti Deepa Prakaranam. Who is really contented with whatever he has, he doesn't depend on something other than himself. That's what essentially a freedom. And that is essentially what it says Anya Adhin, the one who depends on something other than himself, he is a slave. He is a slave to that. want to have a cup of coffee, otherwise I'm miserable. I depend on coffee for my happiness. Coffee has a hold on me. I depend on him for my happiness. I depend on her. I depend on so many things for my happiness. And they don't meet my expectation. They don't meet things, therefore I am unhappy. That is, transactionally happy is different from I am happy by myself as I am. That essentially a viveka. And freedom from not depending on these fluctuating things which do not have, it may be perceptibility is there, utility is there, transactability is there, but there is no stability. I cannot depend on unstable things. I cannot stand on a building which is shaking all the time. I may fall down, any whole building may collapse. That's essentially, I cannot be depending on that. Then what is that I have to depend? I have to depend on myself. Wherever I am happy. That is the contentment I can only do if I recognize that I am full by myself. That is viveka that's required. And vairagya is to recognize all other pursuits, because remember dharma, artha, kama, these are purushartha there. All other pursuits are not end by themselves. They are not the goals. Until then, materialistic people, that is the end by themselves. But now I recognize that they are not the end in itself. They are only means for me to go to this stage. So I should not get confused between the means and the end. They are not the goals, they are only means. That means whole life becomes a means for me to learn and to see what needs to be done, so that my mind is prepared for the highest knowledge. So all ashramas, grihastha all that are only a means to acquire or to prepare the mind for this highest reality. So I don't have anything against them. They are only means, but I don't depend on that as the end goal itself. So the whole life, it becomes a university for me to learn, so that my mind is prepared for this highest knowledge, because I've been going on life after life in the same situation there. And that's called vairagyam. And samadhi shatka sampatti involves samadhama, uparati and so on. There are 6 of them. They are all preparing my mind in a such way that self-discipline is required. In any pursuit, discipline is important ingredient for success. So I want this, but at the same time my mind is running, I want to get first class, and say I'm running all over and wasting my time, then I won't get it. So I have to withdraw my mind. Samadhama is withdrawing my mind from sense enjoyments. So physically I have to withdraw, and mentally I have to withdraw also. That's called dhamma and shama. And I have to invest that into this. And in spite of all other troubles, titiksha, things are not, environment is not there, this is not there, I have to forbear all those things and still concentrate on this. That is called samadhi shatka sampatti. That's a disciplining my mind, and the senses are, body, mind and senses are in my control. That's called, that is the one that gives me. If I don't have enough, I am studying, but that's the one that really requires, and that's why people know Vedanta but still cannot claim that I am Brahmasmi. We'll come back to that later. And the final one is a moksha, intense desire for liberation. So I had to have constant vision of that goal. This is true in all successes required. In any success, materialistic also, I need to have constant vision of that goal, that I want that, I want that, I want that. In the same way, even in the spirituality, I need that constant the vision of that goal, and that is required to pursue further, so that all other things I give as a secondary importance. These are the 4 fundamental qualifications are required, that are called preparing the mind for the highest pursuit. Then with all the preparation, then what should I do? That we will discuss in the next talk. With this we stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.